sense of their self-worth, that they are the pride of God's good earth. The violence will stop virtually overnight. If they are proud of their ancestors, they'll be proud future investors, buying stock in everything that's right. We have the chance to save one, but we must be the brave one. Courage to alter, courage to make a change. Our current methods are failing. There's an air of despair prevailing. We must change before they're all estranged. Finally, we have to raise their self-esteem. To restore that bright-eyed gleam, they have to know how great they were before. If they take pride in their great past, they'll start learning fast. Then our greatness and our splendor, they'll restore. But we must teach them. We must teach them.
sportsworld.com. Education, not incarceration. Very important show. I'm glad that we have a great show, great panel of guests with us today. Very important subject, probably one of the most important subjects we've ever talked about on SC Sports World. But I'm honored. We have principals, board presidents, we have recent high school graduates in the house. But I just want to start it off going to my right. She founded a school, she saw the problem. Just tell the viewing audience your name and what it is you do.
My name is Iona Tennant, and I'm the founder of Virtuous Academy. I'm a native of Duquesne, Pennsylvania, where incarceration is a big problem amongst our youth, and I saw a void that needed to be filled. And basically, I believe that Virtuous Academy makes a difference by introducing God into the classrooms and letting the children know that there's a support system that they can go to in spite of the environmental stressors that they have out in the communities.
Okay. And we're going to get in that a little more. How long has the school been around, and is it it's not just for kids in Duquesne?
No, we actually cater to the Mon Valley area, even though parents if you're willing to bring your child, we will accept them. I started in 2008 in the basement of a church, one-room schoolhouse, and I saw the program working. I saw the children happy to come to school, learning things about God, learning things about their communities across the country, across the continents, and I continued to push and push and push to build and grow, and we're still here in 2013.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Keep it up. And now, just going down the line, we have a doctor in the house. Say your name, board president.
Dr. Vernon Tipton. I'm the president of the board, former principal of both McKeesport and Wilkinsburg High School, and the executive director of Duquesne City Schools.
Okay.
I met Ayanna, just a real brief message about how we got together, and we met over the internet. She said she actually contacted my son inadvertently, and I want to tell the story because I'm not a social media buff. And my son got a message. He said there's a young lady who wants to meet with you, and she was recommended by Ann Gainey to find me and see if I could help her to kind of add some things to her school that she needed at that particular time.
Okay.
And to make a long story short, we got in contact through my son, and she emailed my son and said, I'm either looking for your father or your grandfather. So I'm both a father and a grandfather. She's looking for both Vernon Tipton.
Okay.
So
and of course, we have my man Mike Vick, partner. He helped me put this together, and just trying to do things to build the community. Mike, anything you want to add before we?
Well, I love what we're addressing today. Of course, it's education and not incarceration. And anyone that knows me knows that I'm always trying to find positive solutions for the problems that we have in our community. So after meeting Mr. Timpson, he told me about what he was involved with. I'm very fortunate that he was able to be here today, and we're going to talk about some great things because we know we got some issues we have to address.
Okay, okay. And now we have some graduates in the house, fresh, not even a month, a month away from graduation. Say your name, tell the viewing audience your name, school you graduated from.
Chris Reese, Brashear High School.
Okay, okay,
Gerard Doswell Hardrick, Taylor Alderdice High School.
okay.
Curtis Pope, Barack Obama Academy.
Bruce Mullen, PA Saber.
All right.
But while you guys got the mic, tell us about your aspirations of going to college and what you intend on doing a little more academically.
Yeah, I'm going to Pitt for a baseball scholarship, and I'm also going for computer science. So it's like
Great.
I plan to attend CCAC in the fall, and I plan to study business.
I'm going to Geneva for a major in computer engineering. I'm playing football and basketball there.
Okay.
I'm going to attend CCAC for education and trying to transfer down to LSU.
Great.
All right. And we, of course, we have to get Spencer. Spencer, just talk about how you got involved with the young men. And the program that you're
I
actually
need you to
doing.
repeat that for me, please.
Oh, yeah. Just tell us how you got involved with the young graduates and the program that you're involved in.
Well, we're trying to get a media program in Homewood North. And through the help of Ms. Doswell and her daughters here today, actually helped me get the young men down here. We feel there's a better way of expressing ourselves. Mm-hmm. We want to be able to utilize the media for what it's worth, and we feel that PCTV is a great place to start. So that's why we're here. We want to come up with a different kind of message for young people.
Okay, okay. And we're getting ready to run a clip in 1 minute. But one thing we're here to talk about is stopping the school-to-prison pipeline is what they call it. And I know you saw the need. You spoke about it earlier. It's why you started the school. Just speak about that piece, the school-to-prison pipeline, for maybe some of the viewing audience who doesn't understand what that is. Can you just talk about it? And also you, Dr. Tipton.
Again, I'm a native of Duquesne, and my experience in the Duquesne City School District, I have had many friends who have either been murdered or went to prison because the school system does not always understand what we go through when we leave school, or what we wake up to, or how we spend our weekends, and they just try to just give us a bunch of information. And I realized that whenever your friend was just murdered or taken off to jail, algebra, trigonometry is just not a priority. So Virtuous Academy has several programs, such as Community Connection, where we involve the parents to come down and learn the same things that their children are learning, and it kind of brings a sensitivity to the families. We also have a program called The Studio, where children can talk about some of those things, who was shot, who, what you couldn't get accomplished over the weekend because of different things or different distractions. And we provide those opportunities for them to still be successful and to help them socially and emotionally to handle where they are, and to understand that God is still in control, and they can be the change that'll turn the whole community around. Sometimes it looks like it's a dead-end situation, and I'm not far off from the young gentleman before us, but the norm is not normal. Mm-hmm. And you have a few gleaming students that will realize that, and those students need to understand that they are the change. Don't leave, stay where you're raised at, and be the change so that things can turn around. Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was built.
Right, right. Okay. Dr. Tipton,
I think we have to take, Ayan is talking about locally homegrown products who come back and then exhibit what it means to go out into the world and be productive.
Right.
And that's definitely needed. If you're able to cascade that over problem areas, you're going to start to put a dent in this. The other thing is, we've forgotten something. We have to take a look at where we started, and the mark of slavery still runs deep in us. This violence that we see was perpetrated at one level, seemingly went away, and it's now come back because we've gotten lax.
Right.
The things that got us here, we forgot to do, and that are the fundamentals. You have to have direction. You have to have a job.
Right.
You have to have someone mentoring you.
Right.
You have to have someone caring about your destination. If you look behind every successful child, there's somebody back there in that family that's pushing that child. You know, it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't fall out of the air.
Right.
We have to go back to basics. When I look at these young men, I just watched them while I was here. I was able to engage them in conversation. Try to talk to the average kid, young person today. They can't talk. That's a form of communication. That's not communication. If I ask you a question, I taught my children this, by the way, I deserve an answer, an intelligible answer. I demanded that of my children, both my children and the children I encountered in school. I didn't let them walk by me and not speak.
Right.
Just one anecdote. If you go to a doctor, and I'm talking about a medical doctor now, not a doctor of education or PhD, you have to articulate what's wrong with you.
Right.
You have to speak. So you have to start demanding that of children at a very young age. And we have to go back to the basics.
And this is where me and my mentor kind of bump heads, because he's a wonderful father, set a great example for his children, but I also present to him some of the children who just don't have that support. And in some cases, some of these children are just saying, I don't want to be like that, so I have to find a way to not be like that. And Virtuous Academy opened up great doors, because he pours into me the things that he taught his children, and then I can pour it on to other people's children who otherwise would not have the experience, because the kids who are dying are their fathers, or the people who are dying are their fathers or aunts or uncles, and the house is just chaotic. So Virtuous Academy serves as a safe haven for them to come, feel like a kid, be relaxed, get a good meal, somebody who understands, what it's like to lose someone due to violence, and just to be able to learn things about Japan and China and the Aztecs and all these different cultures that affect us, because the products are coming here from other parts of the country, and we package it and sell it, and they learn about government, and they become aware of their surroundings, which allows them to be sensitive within their community.
That's very important.
I call us the geek and the geezer. She's technologically driven, this old geezer. So what we do is...
That make a perfect team.
Yeah, right. Somewhere we're going to meet somewhere in the middle of all that.
Okay. We do have a clip we want to run that's actually going to hit the topic even a little more about education, not incarceration. Can we run that video?
Youth are more likely to get into an adult detention center rather than college. Between 1990 and 2004, the number of youth under the age of 18 serving in an adult prison has increased by 208%.
When our system is equipped primarily just to address this idea of accountability and dish out punishments, we really miss a lot of opportunities.
40%, and in some communities more than that, of referrals to the juvenile justice courts are now coming directly from schools.
Part of what we see is that young people who are not getting an effective, appropriate education.
If you have a school that's set up that has metal detectors on the way in, like a heavy police presence, a zero tolerance, you're feeding that mentality that young people are criminals and not students. How are you supposed to focus with all of that violence going on around you? Violence meaning police in schools, metal detectors, and zero tolerance.
A lack of understanding of the underlying issues combined with an over-reliance on detention has elevated this issue to a crisis level with devastating results.
There's no consideration for extenuating circumstances. There's no consideration of a case-by-case basis. And I think that's always a mistake.
They don't realize that some people gotta steal to survive because they don't have something to eat at home, or they don't have the means to get what they need. People think people steal or commit crimes for what they want, but it's not always the case. Sometimes it's for what you need in order to survive.
Referring that many kids to court, I don't see the positives from it, because I think what happens is once they're referred to court, they're missing school. They're at risk of, they're starting to develop a criminal record. And they're at risk of becoming really alienated from school.
We are hindering their development and their futures with criminal records.
In order to ensure better outcomes for court-involved youth, organizations such as Youth Advocacy Department and The Force are amongst a growing number of those working toward change and proposing innovative solutions.
We need to have relationships where we're figuring out what's going on with this kid. Programs like the Gerald Kramer Center, where kids who look like they're heading out, where they get to 16, 17, they've been suspended a couple of times, it looks like we might be losing them, actually can have their guidance counselor pull them aside and say, look, we've got a different place we can send you to get you through, to get you your high school diploma, to make sure that you're being supported, has smaller classes, to keep a closer eye on kids.
They need to set up programs where people are able to come back into the community, help out with the community, be a part of the community.
Let them know that what they're doing is wrong, and let them know that there's a way out of this life, and it's through education.
If we invested in the young people that are in those systems, then the system itself would be able to promote much more life success, which would save us a lot of money down the road, because all of our adult systems could be shrunk dramatically and cost us a lot less money. Not to mention those young people would grow up to be taxpayers instead of net tax consumers.
The importance and impact of investing in our young people goes far beyond dollars and cents.
Our young people are getting stolen from us, and we need them. We need them to work. We need their ideas. We need their energy. We need their love. We need their passion. We need their creativity. Like, what are we gonna do without leaders who are young? What are we gonna do without them?
A little piece that Press Pass put together. I'm glad they allowed us to use it. But I want to throw it over to the recent graduates and talk about your experience with school. They brought up a lot of good points, how you go into school, it kind of feels, the metal detectors. What was your experience? You have the mic.
Yeah, I like what the video was saying, and the surroundings or the first thing that students feel, like it's more than just what you're walking through, it's like you feel it. So if you walk through metal detectors and you get checked and then a police officer looks at you while you walk all the way down the hallway, you feel that and you say, oh, well, he think I'm gonna do something, so maybe I should do something. Or some people might say, all right, so they're strict here, you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna have it, so I'm not gonna try it. But at the same time, there's people who would walk through the schools, like as teachers, and they're saying, well, from their perspective, they think that that's all the kids know is to steal and be bad. But really, the kids, like, as students, we're trying to portray ourselves as what they want us to be. Like, we're not being ourselves because we're not allowed.
Okay.
So when we do something, and it's immediate punishment, like they hit hard on us without saying, so why'd you do it?
Right.
Do you have someone at home to help you do this?
Zero tolerance.
Or something
There you go.
Yeah. So, like, teachers have to understand more what students are going through besides just being a teacher, or to send them straight to the principal, and the principal send them straight home or suspend them or whatever, because that's putting them right back on the streets, and we're not trying to have that. And as students, we got to help each other. Since if I'm educated, I help my brother right here, tell him, you know what I'm saying, help him out, show him the path, instead of just either letting them go or condoning negative activities.
Right.
So,
Good points. Going to school for education, what were your thoughts on the video and your feelings in school?
My thoughts on school of how when you first walk in, there's metal detectors, they check you, and in Brashear, you had to walk up the steps, and just like Gerard said here, that the security guards or teachers will look at you a certain kind of way, and it's the way that when you present yourself, that's the way people look at you. So if you present yourself as a person that does bad things or cuts class, then you're going to be known as a class cutter. You're going to,
Right.
and it's basically the way that you present yourself to the class and to the teachers and stuff that gets you your motivation, and teachers help you more and stuff like that. Even if you're not.
Even if you're not. Okay.
Well, in my opinion, I think it's a lot bigger than the school system. I think it's a lot to do with what's going on at home because, for example, all of us, we've been friends since we were 5 years old, and as long as we never looked for trouble, we got through high school and everything without getting shot, without much happening to us. Me personally, I haven't been suspended at all, ever. I wouldn't know what that's like.
Right.
And a lot of my opinions come from Jeffrey Canada. I read a book by him, and it's about the Harlem Project that he has going on.
Okay. I'm familiar with him.
Yeah, and
Children's Village, right.
Yeah, and I feel like he has a lot of what's going on because you can blame the school a lot, but the school's not going to understand you because you have teachers coming from suburban America coming to inner cities to teach, and there's no way that we can see eye to eye. I have teachers that grew up and they hunt for a living. That's how they eat. They eat dinner every night. I couldn't imagine what that's like. Like this right there is how we eat. It's not the same. It's like it's a huge gap to fill between a student who every day eats a bag of chips from the corner store to a teacher who goes into his truck and goes out into the hoods and kills a deer. It's a huge gap to fill. Personally, I feel like it's before school, because if you're sent to school with the right state of mind, like you can get through anything. Even though I do feel like the video had some strong points.
Okay.
Like going off of what they're saying, like how they had the metal detectors and everything, that's like going past the school systems too. That's like basically the government and everything think like the young black youth are gonna come and like bring guns and stuff to school just because of what's going on in their neighborhood. So they're gonna think, basically going off of that, we gotta check them because that's what they're prone to in their neighborhood. So why not think they're going to continue on doing it in school? Like they basically don't give the black youth enough chance to prove all that. So it's basically they're going to be their first look. They're coming in from this neighborhood. So we got to have that much protection in the schools where they're going to think like they don't want to come get an education that much because half the black youth usually drop out of school, get kicked out of school, just based on stuff that's going on in their neighborhood that they think that they got to do it when they really don't. Like.
Okay. Have you guys seen kids arrested coming from school? Leave out in handcuffs, every one of you?
Yes.
Wow. So that's about how many times? It happen on a regular basis? Take the mic.
Like, in certain schools, stuff's going to happen.
Okay. And
so people, like, not necessarily snitch, but word gets around. And when you talk about this, that's when the reinforcements come in. They will call a police officer to the school, like the real police, not just a security guard, like Pittsburgh police. They'll come to the school, and there'll be a big commotion over a rumor, like something little. So it's like, you gotta look more into not just who is it, where he's coming from, but why is he doing it? Who's making him do it? So it's not all about just violence. It's mental too. Is somebody in his ear telling him that he needs to go kill this person or rob this or take a lunch? Like, it's not all about just the person himself, but the person who's his mentor, like who's watching over him.
Okay. Well, I want to say to you gentlemen, first and foremost, I want to congratulate you on completing your first step of education for Macon High School. And the second question I want to ask you, and I'm glad we have you on the panel with y'all just completing high school, if you had the opportunity to think tank, to see some of the negative things that's going on in school, and what would you have finished in school, going to this high school, how do you see things could have been better to provide a better education for the youth?
Mind if
Whoever.
I got it.
Said he got the mic.
But what I would like to say is, like, this year actually, I think it's, like I said, it goes bigger than just like at school, because there's people who have these personalities coming into kindergarten. You know, like I remember these guys from kindergarten, like what it's like, what they were like then, and what it's like now. I mean, not much. I mean, much has changed, but you still see that same person.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, someone at my school this year came with a gun. Like, someone came into my school with a weapon, and they're going to give it to somebody else or whatever the story was. But the main thing is, like, I think you need to answer that question.
Yes.
I think you need representation from the community in the school. You need people who are from the community that know what it's like, that might be able to solve the problem before school even starts. That way, it's like the issue's dead before someone has to get in trouble or someone has to get hurt. More importantly.
All right,
Okay, good point.
Another thing is that to have more African American teachers.
Great
also,
point.
that's also why I'm going to college for education, because I feel as if I could give my services to help out people like teaching and stuff like that, then it'll, you know, and because of my skin color, because I'm African American, I know that I could help the other African American students out.
Right. About how many African American teachers did you have, you know, through high school? Can you name men specifically? Can you name more than one or even one?
Besides the gym teacher.
Yeah, gym teacher wasn't even African American.
And we found that's important for to have role models that emulate to you who stress education. We, like you said, this is Steel City Sports World, and we are concerned about sports, and we back kids, but we really want kids to elevate themselves through education, and that's very important. That's very, very important. So we're really happy what path you guys are on. We're really ecstatic about that, because as you know, all too often, we hear about all the negative things in that community, and y'all are outstanding examples, so there's a lot of positive people in our community. I commend you again.
There's one thing that wasn't mentioned that I heard before, because a lot of children, I can name 4 right now that I know who got a bullet they didn't deserve, not even in their life. I heard a mom saying, I pray for them. Every time they leave the house, everywhere they go, she prays for them, and that does make a difference. And if you think about some of your friends who probably came in at kindergarten with all that energy and reckless and jumping over stuff, there's maybe not anyone praying for them and asking and sitting down with them to do homework or taking them somewhere outside of their community. And all of those things play a part. I believe the school system is in a tough spot because, and it's not just black schools anymore, it's everywhere, colleges, elementary, urban, suburban. They're trying to keep you safe, but also not knowing that you're the one who they're trying to keep safe. They almost have to treat you like everybody else, so it's not like I'm just singling him out because he has a record and he has this reputation. They go in with a mindset of doing a job. And I can tell now you're going to be one of those teachers that takes your kids home every single day. You want to know how to get through to that child. Some teachers are just going in there to give you the information that you need in order to pass. If you don't take it, that's your responsibility. Whatever you don't do within that school system is not their responsibility. They get a paycheck regardless. So it's not a black teacher, it's not a white teacher. There's going to be somebody in your life that cares about you and invest in your future regardless. The school, I left Duquesne City School District, and I didn't have many black teachers where I graduated from, but I had a caring team of people. Unfortunately, it wasn't in an urban neighborhood, but it gave me the skills that I need now to come back to my community and be the change that I wanted when I was young.
Let me speak about this just a little bit from an administrator's point of view. I've been an administrator in school. All of the things that we're talking about are time killers, and they take away from academic improvement. Even though these things have to be dealt with, this is one of the struggles that we have. I'm constantly telling Ayanna, I know kids come with problems. I know they have issues, but you can deal with those issues to some extent. But when you're dealing with those issues, you're losing class time. And when you do that, a school in chaos, or where there's chaos in the classroom, that's learning time that's disappearing.
Right.
So that when you go out into the world, I agree with you that this problem permeates throughout the United States to some degree. But don't think when you step on that college campus, you're going to find kids who weren't affected by that. And you have to compete directly with that student. So all the things that you didn't get, you're now playing catch up. So what I'd like to see people do is acknowledge the fact that these stressors exist. But if you spend too much time on the stressors, you're now sacrificing academic improvement. That's from an administrative point of view.
And from a parent standpoint, who played an active life in my kids' education and talking to teachers and trying to figure out what I could do, I think we should definitely express the fact that for a child to do well in school, there has to be 3 components in place. First of all, the child should want to do well in school themselves. His parents should take an active part in his education, as well as his teachers. Like he's saying, for an administrator to have to try to teach a child and have to settle a child down before he can teach takes away from every child inside that classroom. So that's, again, like he said, that's time that's taken away. And it's not fair to the kid who really wants to learn. So I think that's why I said, if you come